Coaches, Rick Stewart of All Access Coaching. I'm really excited to bring you this free video, and make sure you hit the subscribe and like button down below. And if you hit the like and subscribe button, you'll get notified when we upload new content. We're uploading 3 or 4 videos every week.
So the 5 things we're all coaching our quarterbacks to do in one form or another, what the elite quarterbacks do, is the pre-snap process. It's the ability to see accurately, completely from the pocket, the ability to get through progressions, the ability to deliver a ball with consistent accuracy, and the ability to protect the football and minimize turnovers. All right, so the areas we really try and develop at Reedley is, one, starts with recruiting the right guys. And, you know, I think especially at the high school level, it's choosing the right guys to play quarterback. And so there's the character elements, there's the it factor. You know, you might have the 6'4" kid that looks unbelievable in 7-on-7 and goes to all the camps and stuff like that, but is he a competitor? Is he a leader? What happens when he gets hit? All those different things. I know when I was back at Middle High School up in Seattle, we had 2 kids come back their senior year. One was a 6'2" kid, looked the part. One was a 5'10" kid who didn't. And, you know, ultimately it was the 5'10" kid that made our offense go and was the guy. So it may look different the same way at a D3 or D2 or FCS school. You know, you may not want to go after the 6'5" guys. You may want to find some 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2" guys. When I'm watching film, I always want to try and find guys that get the ball out in rhythm and get completions. I hate when I get a quarterback's film, the first 7 clips are him just scrambling around or him just throwing fade balls, because to me, that's, you know, that doesn't show that you're seeing the field. That's anybody can just catch and throw, or anybody can run around, play schoolyard football, but guys that can get the ball out in rhythm from the pocket, I know we're doing some good things. All right. Other things we really want to do is make sure we develop and mandate work habits. I'm going to show this, and I'm going to, let's see, share computer sound. I don't know how well this will play, but one of the biggest things for me is trying to get guys to understand that there's levels to everything, and being the hardest worker in your high school program versus being the hardest worker at the college level versus the NFL level. So developing element 1. So again, element 1 is the ability to have total command of the offense while gathering and processing large amounts of information, using that information to make accurate snap decisions in the 25 to 40 seconds before the snap of the football. So how I really try and get that done. So I always use the analogy of the Bourne Identity. So if you guys remember the first Bourne Identity movie, he gets off the boat and he's sitting in a cafe, and he's talking to the girl across from him, the woman across from him, and says, you know, I don't know who I am, but I know that the guy at the counter is 6'2", 240, left-handed, knows how to handle himself in a fight. I know where all the exits are. I know that the best place to find a gun is in the cab of that truck outside, and I know that I can run flat out for a minute before my lungs give out. And so that type of situational awareness is what we're trying to build into our quarterbacks. So it starts with holding guys accountable for the installs and information. If your quarterback doesn't hear a play call and have instant recognition, he's going to struggle. And then the next thing becomes, how are you going to quiz it, do those different things. Multiplication table races, we'll give guys 6 plays, and we'll tell them, you know, 6 play calls, draw them all as fast as you can, which quarterback can finish them all, and are they correct? And then reps, practice reps, of course, but reps are at a premium. So I think the great thing about the Yates video is he's doing a great job of simulating practice reps. Obviously, we're never going to have enough practice reps, game reps to develop all our quarterbacks, to rep everybody. So you got to figure out how you're going to do some of those things. So we got a chat question. Nope, we're good. So next thing, define and drill the pre-snap process. You know, give them a process as far as, all right, you're looking at the D-line, linebackers, safeties, back down. And then active coaching, I think, is huge. So you, especially with young kids, you want to give them a feel for getting it right. So standing behind them, especially during the early reps, you know, and kind of surveying the field for them, and just giving them little verbal cues. Hey, are your receivers set? What do those safeties do? You know, what, et cetera, et cetera. And so, especially if you have the script and you know a field pressure is coming and they're going to roll to it. Hey, see those safeties? Where are they telling you? Where's the pressure coming from? And so you start to clue those kids in to how those things can help them. Element number 2, seeing the ability to see accurately, completely without distraction. And so Romo had a quote, I was given the gift of vision, being able to see. That's probably the reason why I was able to make it in the NFL, being as bad as I was in every other category. And so having eyes do you not see, Mark 8:18. Both as a player, I've had success in the pocket. I've also had to drop back and not seen anything. And so some guys are really comfortable in the pocket and they play with hard eyes downfield. Other guys get distracted by the rush or the game just moves too fast. And so making sure that we're trying to help that. So, the traditional thought is that height is correlated with vision. It's not. I mean, I use these images to show that nobody's seen over a 6'4" lineman with a helmet on. Everybody's looking through slats in the fence. And so some of it's innate, and then obviously through repetition, we can also develop it. But traditional NFL canon thought, oh, you need to be tall to see. And so here's Peyton Manning, prototypical quarterback. Everybody's throwing through gaps in the fence, through vision and throwing lanes, and that's where they're getting the ball out. All right. So Breeze had a quote, and he says, to me, it's not a big deal. I don't know what it's like to be 6'5". I don't know what those guys see. I do know what I have to do in order to prepare myself. I need to move and slide to find lanes to see my receivers. So drilling pocket movement, different things like that. Sometimes you got to slide to avoid pressure, especially as a smaller quarterback. Other times you have to just slide to find vision. All right, so that's something we really try and harp on. All right, so just again, more visual examples. Quarterbacks are going to have limited vision. They have to, the whole picture has to come through connecting the dots. So another quote, Dilfer, you see pictures in your mind on the way back based on the keys you picked up about how the play is unfolding out there. And that's based on your study and your experience. So even back to this image, you might be keying the safety you're not going to be able to see all 11 defenders. So you need to use 2 or 3 visual keys to connect the dots. All right. So how do we develop element 2? Like I said, reps. I use the analogy of Steve Nash, not a great athlete driving into the lane in the NBA, sees everything, makes every pass. I play 7 a.m. hoops at Reedley. I drive in the lane and I turtle with the ball and I can't find a pass. All right. So some guys just have that innate ability. They feel really, really comfortable. Wave drills. Everyone's seen the L-way drills. You can do different movement avoidance drills to help guys get comfortable climbing. Routes on air, 7-on-7 with a defender or multiple defenders standing in front of the quarterback or rushing the quarterback to force them to throw through passing lanes. We also do simulated team pass where we're getting just a half rush with the offensive line in front, so they're used to throwing through those screens. And again, I always felt like myself for a quarterback. All summer I'd throw, I'd come back for 7-on-7 of camp, I'd kill it. And then all of a sudden they'd put linemen in front of me and the completion percentage would drop. So getting used to seeing through that screen would always take some time. And then standing back there as a coach, and again, active coaching, hey, take a deep drop and then climb. And so you can find those vision lanes. Number 3, and so this is really what we're talking about with the 4-filter system. So the ability to get the football into the hands of other skill players by working through a pass progression quickly, decisively, and correctly. I would say any coach can draw 5 squiggly lines on a whiteboard and get a guy open. The great coaches and the great quarterback coaches are the ones that can now coach a quarterback on how to make decisions to find the open receiver. I once worked with a coach that after every play would pause it and yell at the quarterback or tell the quarterback in films, look, you didn't see he was open. And there was never a process to help that kid find the open receiver. So on a pass play, realistically, there's never been a quarterback that can get through as many as 5 targets. Realistically, there's never been a quarterback that can get through a 5-receiver progression on a regular basis. Also, offensive lines can't protect that long. Great quarterbacks use their awareness and recognition, what we talked about with filter number 1, that pre-snap recognition, and then 2, seeing completely from the pocket what the defense is doing. They use their awareness and recognition as a filter, so they do not look at 5 different receivers. They're only looking at 1, 2, and then maybe a third guy. Here's one of his favorite concepts. And if he was getting a 1-high look, he was playing seam curl flat. If he was getting a 2-high look, he was going to play the level concept, dig to the end. If he was getting blitzed or man coverage come hell or high water, he was throwing X on the in route. And so that's how simple he made that game, simple he made that play. The ball came out of his hand extremely fast because he really believed in the filter system. And so for us, again, when it comes to element 3, we talk about mastery of the system, making sure you know what your options are on a given play. And we try and put in a framework consistently of our 4 filter system: 1 high, 2 high, blitz, or man. So that's what we expect our quarterbacks to see. And so now I'm going to go into a little more depth. And in our system, we kind of talk a lot about how we do it and how it permeates through all different facets of our passing game. So we're going to develop, our awareness of 1 high, 2 high, blitz. And if you get man, it's gravy. So of course I want you to be able to differentiate between 1 high and man. But if you know, the critical thing is 1 high, 2 high, and blitz. All right. And the last thing is, when you talk about why do you need a filter system? Well, I really believe that any quarterback can get through two progressions. You can get just about any quarterback to read smash, hitch to corner. You can get them to read curl flat or slant arrow, 1 to 2, however you're teaching it. But the elite guys are the guys that can go, 1, 2 to check down, or 1, 2, 3. You'll see insane clips of Breeze getting through 4 and 5. And so, again, we have to put our guys in a position to be successful. I show those efficiency numbers is because we're not asking our quarterbacks to drop back and get through 3, 4, 5 progressions. We're asking our guy to drop back to get to 1 to 2, maybe to 3. All right. So, again, when we're building concepts, the things we're thinking about with our 4 filter system is what commonalities or outliers do we need to be prepared to have an answer for. And so, I mean, if you guys want to type in the question box right now, or the Q&A or the comments, what are the most common coverages you see? Right now, for the last 5 years at the JC level, we see a ton of even front quarters. We're seeing our league has had a rash of teams wanting to play cover 1. We'll obviously see some 3. We don't see much cover 2, just because we run the ball pretty effectively. And if you play too much 2, especially on early downs against us, it's going to be a long day. But those are the things we're seeing. And then obviously, what are the most common switch ups you see off of teams that are quarter teams? All right, they roll, they play 3 deep, 3 under. They roll, they play cover 1. And then what are the outlier looks? And so how do you organize it all to make it flexible yet simple for your quarterbacks? What we've gone to, like I said, is we build all our base and quick game concepts out of this 4 filter system. So we're going to have a 1 high beater. We're going to have a 2 high beater. We're going to have a blitz beater, and we're going to have hopefully a man beater. And so the thing that I go back to is, so Rick talked a little bit about, I was playing in Europe, and I was the quarterback and the coordinator, and I could just check things. And if we had a play for a coverage that I didn't like, then I'd just check it. Well, then I got to the JC level, and we were running a lot of mirrored concepts. So it'd be, hey, we're running slant flat or slant arrow, whatever you call it. But if we get too high, you're going to check it to double slant. Well, our kids were so paralyzed at the line of scrimmage because they didn't know if those safeties were going to roll, if they were going to stay. And so what I've gotten to, and I was also doing some reading on, especially Peyton Manning's last years with the Broncos, and Belichick was actually talking about, he said they had basically 2 types of pass plays. One, they would check, they'd get up, give the hard count. He'd see what coverage you're in, and then they'd check to, oh, they're in a 2 high look, cover 2 look. We're going to get our best 2 beater. Oh, they're in a man look, 1 high look. We're going to get to our best man beater, and they would check the whole play. Or Belichick talked about, we're going to get up there and they'd go fast, and they would have multiple beaters on the play. They'd have a 1 high beater, a 2 high beater, et cetera, et cetera. And that's how I got to the 4 filter system. And so for us, we want to play with tempo. We don't always play with tempo, but I want to make sure that our quarterback has the answer at all times at the line of scrimmage, so he's not stuck in a paralysis by analysis situation. He can just say, all right, it's 2 high, I'm playing this to this, this. Oh, they rolled the 1 high, I'm playing this to this. Oh, they're blitzing me, I know where my quickest throw. So what's that look like? All right, conceptually, it's about teaching your quarterback to evaluate where the defense is allocating its resources, or where it's the weakest, right? And then making sure we have an answer to attack that defense. So, of course, 1 high, cover 3, we want seams, outside timing routes, flat defender reads. If it's 2 high, we want high lows on the corners, high lows on the alley players, double post looks, attacking those safeties, or dig posts, depending on what you like or prefer. if we're going to get blitz, usually it's three under, cover one or zero or something like that. And so I always say to quarterbacks, why do the teams blitz you? They blitz you because they think you're such a bad player that you can't get the ball out before you recognize that you're getting blitzed and it hits home. And so I was both as a coordinator and as a quarterback, I take a lot of pride that if you're going to blitz us, we're going to have an answer for it and we're going to get the ball out. The last thing I'm going to ask my quarterback to do is stand there and hold the ball and make a bunch of reads against blitz. So we want to make sure that we have something that wins quickly, that quarterbacks can feel good about standing up and playing that matchup. And then if we're getting a man look, especially cover one, something that's high percentage versus man. So we're not trying to throw a 14-yard curl against press man. We want something that's going to develop quickly, something that's an easy win for a receiver, whether it's a slant, whether it's some sort of crossing route, different, or maybe a corner route, something of that nature.
Coaches, I really hope you got some great information from that YouTube video. Again, hit the subscribe and like button down below. It gives us valuable data, and you also get notified when I upload new content to this channel. Thanks for watching, coaches.